Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Param Bhuya Param Akshay Gyananam Gyanam Uttamam Yajnanad Bhamunihe Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
Text 2. Idam Gyanam Upastritya Mama Sadhyayam Agataha Sargepi Nupajante Pralayena Bethanischa.
By
Sorry.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution.
Text 3. Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Grabham Dadhami Aham Shambhabhavi Sarva Bhutanam Tato Bhavati Bharata.
The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Text 4. Sarvayonu Shikunteya Muttaya Shambhavantiyaha Tasmad Brahma Mahad Yoni Aham Bija Pradapita.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Text 5. Sadbham Rajastama iti Guna Prakriti Shambhava Nibhadanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam Abhayam.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjun, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
Text 6. Tatra Sadbham Nirmalata Bhat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukha Sangena Badhanti Jnana Sangena Chanaga.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
Text 7. Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi Trashna Shango Samudbhavam Tan Nidhavanti Kaunteya Karma Sangena Dehinam.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions.
Text 8. Tamasta Angana Jambhidi Moha Nam Sarva Dehinam Parama Dalasya Nidravish Tan Nibadhanti Bharata.
O son of Bharat, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul.
Text 9. Sadbham Sukha Sanjayati Raja Karmani Bharata Jnanam Avhate Tutamha Pavade Sanjayati Uta.
O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, patience conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness.
Text 10. Rajastamascha Vibhuya Sadbham Bhavati Bharata Raja Sadbham Tamaschaivo Tamasadbham Rajastataha.
Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharat, Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Text 11. Sarvadareshu dehismin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivraddham sadbham iti uta.
The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
Text 12. Lobha pravritti armabha Lobha pravritti armabha karma nam asmama sriha rajeshi etani jayante vivrite bharatar vivrite bharatar sabha.
O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Text 13. Aparakasho pravittascha pramado moha evacha tamashi etani jayante vivrede kurunandana.
When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kunti, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested.
Text 14. Yada sadve pravedhetu palam yati dehi vrata tadotma vidam lokan amalan pratipadattate.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the purer, higher planets of the great sages.
Text 15. Rajarshi pralayam gadbha karma sangeshu jayate tatha pralinas tamasi mudhayaneshu jayate.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes place in the animal kingdom.
Text 16. Karmana shukrateshahu sadbhikam nirmalam phalam rajasa tu phalam dukkham aggano tamasha phalam.
The result of pious actions is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness.
Text 17. Sadbhat sanjayati kanam rajoshu lobha evacha pramadamo tamasho bhavatu ganam evacha.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion.
Text 18. Udham gachanti sadvastha madhya tishanti rajasaha jagannayo gunavritistha adho gachanti tamashaha.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upwards to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Text 19. Nanyam gunabhikartaram yada distanu pashyati gunavrischa param veti madhvavam sodigachati.
When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature.
Text 20. Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samubhavan janma mittu jara dukhe nimikto mittam asnute.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
Text 21. Arjuna uvacha kyalinga gunan etan atito bhavati prabhaho kim archa king ar archaho katham chaitmas Trin Gunan Atibharte.
Arjun inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does it transcend the modes of nature?
Text 22 to 25. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Vakasham cha pravitram cha moham eva cha pandava nadesti sampravritani nani bharatant kanshati udasina bhat asino gune yona vichalate guna bhattanta iti evam yo bhatistati nengate Sama dukkha sukha spratha Sama lostama kanchana tulio tulio priya priyo dharas tulio nindatmas samastuti mano manapamanos tulyas tulio mitrari pakashwaha sharva bharva parityagi gunatita sa uchate.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Text 26. Mam chayo vicharena bhakti yogena sevhate sagunan samatirtaidan dhamma bhuya kalpate.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Text 27. Brahmano hi pratishtatham amritavascho cha savastascho cha dharmasya sukha kanti kasyaya cha.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavatam Gitashu Upanishadeshu Brahma Vidyam Yoga Shastri Sri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Gunatray Vidago Yogo Nama Chaturdash Adhaya Hare Krishna. Please,
Hare Krishna.
devotee, forgive me for if there is any mistake in my pronunciation.
No, Mataji, that was a good attempt.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to come and recite. Thank you, Puja Mataji. That's lovely recitation from your side too of the English. So I will now share my screen. Hare Krishna. So welcome, dear devotees, to today's session of our chapter day Bhagavad Gita. If there's anyone new joining us for the first time, warm welcome to you. My name is Vrindavan Chandra. I'm one of the facilitators for our daily reading and discussion of the Bhagavad Gita. As we've just done, we've recited chapter 14. We'll now focus on a specific verse from chapter 14, which is text number 16 today. Before we do so, we'll recite the Mangala Charanam prayers to invoke auspiciousness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So today we will read text number 16. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukam agyanam tamasa phalam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Or maybe we'll do the word for word first. Karmana of work. Sukritasya pious. Ahu is said. Satvikam in the mode of goodness. Nirmalam purified. Phalam the result. Rajasaha of the mode of passion. Two but. Phalam the result. Dukam misery. Agyanam nonsense. Tamasaha of the mode of ignorance. Phalam the result. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The result of pious action is pure, and it is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The result of pious activities in the mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in happiness. But activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to be undergone before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth, and those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of the mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be a little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present misery, and afterwards he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable. Although under the spell of the illusory energy, Maya, the animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is the law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. This is the law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant's being killed. One has to pay for it. So indulgence in animal killing for the taste of the tongue is the grossest type of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. Of all kinds of killing, animal killing, the killing of cows is most vicious because the cow gives all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is an act of the grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, the Rig Veda 9:46-4, the word gobhi, prinita, matsaram indicate that one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literatures that states Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Itaya Cha Jagat Itaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. My Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society and world. Vishnu Purana 1:1965. The purport is that special mention is given in that prayer for the protection of the cows and the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education, and cows are the symbol of the most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is real advancement of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in the wrong direction and is clearing the path to its own condemnation. A civilization which guides the citizens to become animals in their next lives is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It is a very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the great danger. So this is a beautiful verse and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. So the Lord is now describing in this chapter the three modes. And as we were speaking yesterday, the Lord is describing various aspects, the general characteristics, particular characteristics of when one mode is predominant, then general characteristics. Then Krishna explains in the previous verse the destination of those under the different modes. And here in this verse, Krishna gives focus on action in the various modes. What are the results of action in the various modes? The word here is karmana, of work, which means another translation is action. It may seem that the Lord is repeating. Much of what we've discussed is being repeated in each verse. But there are some subtle differences. And even if there were not subtle differences, Prabhupada says repetition is not a fault. When a special emphasis needs to be given to drive home a particular point, then repetition is needed. So in this chapter, Lord Krishna is stressing that how we are bound by the modes of nature. So from various angles, the Lord is describing the effect of the modes of nature. And in this verse, as we just said, it's action in the different modes. Srila Prabhupada gives a very potent purport. And there is focus on some particular points which we will touch on. Firstly, the mode of passion. Yeah, it is explained that the mode of passion, action in the mode of passion, the result of such action is misery. And one icon of the mode of passion, Prabhupada stresses in the purport, and that is the building of skyscrapers, the concrete jungles of the Western societies. And Prabhupada gives a brief analysis of the process that one goes to build such a skyscraper. Firstly, Prabhupada says, these skyscrapers, they cost lots of money. So someone has got to go through the endeavor, and Prabhupada uses the word much toil, to accumulate the funds. And after accumulating the funds, then one has to go through much toil to construct the building. Nowadays, not so much collecting the funds, but taking big loans to build such a building. If someone wants to build a skyscraper now, they do not use the cash. They'll go to a bank and they will get 120 million, 140 million or more to build a skyscraper. And then for 30 years, one has to break one's head how to pay off the loan. Our lives is a microcosm, is a small reflection of that. We have to toil so much to build some house. And even to build it, we do not build so much these days, but in the olden days they used to build. There's so much of toil involved. And then eventually Prabhupada says we can get some little happiness, mental happiness. One can experience. This is my house. This is my money. Everything is I and mine. But just for how long do we stay in that house? At most 50, 60 years. And then it becomes the property of someone else. So this happiness, so-called happiness, is so limited. So this is a typical results of action in the mode of passion. And we can extrapolate that to so many other scenarios. But Srila Prabhupada just gives one typical scenario, hard labor. Next is the mode of ignorance. And as we've been discussing previously, action in the mode of ignorance leads to much misery. Misery not only in this life, but misery in the next life. And Prabhupada gives the example that animals, recently I was driving together with Vrinda Devi through a countryside. And we were driving and it was very cold. It was frosty and it was extremely cold that day. And we, even in the car with the heating on, was feeling the pinch of the cold. Even in our warm homes to this now when it's cold, we know it's very uncomfortable. But the poor animals, we just go outside to do something, we come back very quickly. It's terribly cold. But the animals, they have to stay in the outdoors. And they have to experience the bitter elements, either the scorching heat or the freezing cold. And always there's some fear of being attacked or being eaten. That's what animal life is. And then Prabhupada says, one in the human form of life in misery, in ignorance, he acts without knowledge. And because of acting without knowledge, all his activities are simply miserable. And Prabhupada says the grossest type of ignorance is slaughtering poor animals for the taste of the tongue. So this verse is giving us how we can see. If we didn't have this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, we cannot see how the modes are acting. But now we can see. Srila Prabhupada, in one lecture, he says the results of the modes are ugra karma. Let me see if I can play that one lecture where Srila Prabhupada talks about this. Okay, no. Okay, let me see, where is it? Okay, here we go. Ugra Karma.
Ugrayat, just like in Europe and America, you see, they're very much fond of Ugra karma. Just like big factories, big bridges, wonderful. Long ago, when the Britishers came here, they constructed big bridges, railway line. People thought it is wonderful. There is a song composed in Bihar. So in the Calcutta, the floating bridge made of wooden bridge, floating bridge was constructed, connected Calcutta proper and Howrah. So there was big wonderful song. Kya pul banaya sahab company. There is a song. Kya pul banaya sahab company. ऊपर में आदमी चले, just like that. नीचे में पानी. So, this Ugra karma, formally this Ugra karma was entrusted to the demon. Those who are in the Satagun, they do not like this Ugra karma. Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Rajastama bhava. Those who are under the control of Rajagun and Tamagun, they are engaged in Ugra karma. Ugra karma. Industrial enterprise, big roads, big skyscraper. This is called Ugra karma. The Ugra karma is very pleasing.
Were you able to hear that clearly?
Yes,
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 Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhu. Very nice.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining this principle of Ugra Karma. This is horrible work. This is the net effect of the mode of passion and ignorance. Prabhupada says factories making nuts and bolts. And if you go into this factory, you'll never find one worker who is very happy making nuts and bolts or widgets, some type of widgets. So this is the effects of the modes of passion and ignorance. And the symptoms of the mode of ignorance is slaughtering poor animals. And unless people come out of the ignorance, the slaughtering of the animals will continue. Like right now, we are experiencing this COVID situation. And actually this COVID disease or this pandemic is a direct result of the mistreatment of animals. So do we think that currently, every day, 800,000 cows are killed? Every single day, 800,000 cows, nearly 1 million. Every day, 3 billion animals are killed, are slaughtered, simply for satisfying the tongue. And, you know, such horrible, sinful activities under the mode of ignorance can't go unchecked. Now, do we think when this COVID is finished, people will stop killing 800,000 cows every day? Do you think people will stop killing 3 billion animals every day? Maybe some people have a realization, but that will be a minority. People are so covered by this mode of ignorance. They just cannot see the cruelty, the horrible work in killing these animals. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, this is leading us all to a very dark destination. This is almost like a vicious circle. Under the mode of ignorance, one will see no fault in killing the animals. And the more one kills the animals, the more one gets covered by the mode of ignorance. This is the vicious cycle that the world is currently in. So what hope is there? Even in religion, the two big religions of the world, Christianity and Islam, they see no difficulty in killing animals. They say the animals have no soul. So what is going to become of this world? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that this cause, the present human civilization, is on a very dangerous course, very, very dangerous course. And Prabhupada quotes in the purport this verse from the Vishnu Purana, Namo Brahmanya Devaya. This is the verse, Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. The translation of the verse is, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Krishna, who is the worshipable deity for all Brahmanical men, who is the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas, and who is always benefiting the whole world. I offer my repeated obeisances to the personality of Godhead, known as Krishna and Govinda. So, how can we expect peace? How can we expect happiness if the two entities who are so dear to Lord Krishna, the Brahmanas and the cows, are being so badly persecuted? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is another verse also in connection with Lord Ramachandra. The 9th canto describes the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. And there it is said, O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have accepted the Brahmanas as your worshipable deity. Your knowledge and memory are never disturbed by anxiety. You are the chief of all famous persons within the worlds, and your lotus feet are worshipped by sages who are beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. O Lord Ramachandra, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto you. So if we just read these statements and these verses and we witness what is happening in the world today, the situation looks very bleak. Even coming out of this COVID, there are predictions by many scientists that there are other more deadly infectious diseases in the waiting. The mortality rate from COVID is about 20%, not that high. But the mortality rate of other diseases that are coming is going to be minimum 50%. And this is all the punishment, all the results and the effects of the mode of ignorance and passion. So what can we do? For ourselves, yes, Prabhupada said, we are living in cities and suburbs. We are surrounded by the mode of ignorance and passion. There are ways which we've been discussing how we can insulate ourselves just in terms of where we live. Prabhupada used to say, the temples of the Lord are Vaikuntha. And in Vaikuntha, there is no modes of goodness, passion, or ignorance. It's free. So Srila Prabhupada says the devotees of the Lord, they make their homes into the temple, and thus their homes become Vaikuntha. And thus they live in a place, although they may be living in the city. Just like sometimes we go into London to the Radha Krishna temple in Soho Square. And Oxford Street is such an emblem of passion. People rushing about, shopping and enjoying, and pubs and restaurants. It's just so much of modes of passion and ignorance. And then we walk into the temple, the Radha Krishna temple, and we see Shri Shri Radha Landanishwara, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra Maharani, and Srila Prabhupada, and in Giri Govardhan. And how do we feel? We feel completely insulated from the modes. So we can do that, but what about civilization now? What is going to happen to our civilization in this age of Kali? There is some good news. And I want to read something from what Srila Prabhupada said about how change will take place in the world. And in that is in the context of the Brihad Mridanga, the big Mridanga, which is book distribution, and the small Mridanga, which is Harinam Sankirtan. So I'll read this, what Prabhupada said. How books will change the world. One of the things that we had heard Prabhupada talk about was the future of the Hare Krishna movement and whether or not it will be like a governing body in the world. We had heard so many things that Prabhupada had said about the communist countries, and there was all this speculation. It was the height of the Cold War, whether or not there would actually be a war. Because at one point, Prabhupada said, if there was a war, it would start between the proxies of America and Russia and Pakistan and India. There was a lot of concern. Was there going to be a war? And how was the Hare Krishna movement really going to convince people so that it could become a government? Prabhupada did say that people would want a perfect government. The time will come when people are searching for leadership. They will want it so badly, and they will see that the Hare Krishna devotees are the perfect. They have qualities, spiritual qualities, that are so obvious that they will turn to them. And there will be a Hare Krishna revolution. A small group of people take over. There are different ways that government change. Are people going to literally join the Hare Krishna religion? And that's how it was going to happen? I was thinking, why else would they vote for us? Prabhupada said that this would come about not in the way we thought. No, it's not necessarily that people are going to become Hare Krishna devotees, and therefore tens of millions, hundreds of millions of them are going to vote us into power. And it's not going to be a revolution by a small group. It's going to be by the mass population wanting it. However, they're not necessarily going to be Hare Krishna devotees, but they will desire it because something spiritual has awakened in them. And they can stay in their own faith. They can be Christians, Jews, or whatever they are. Prabhupada said that that day will come. I said, Prabhupada, how is that going to happen? I was with Hari Shori at that time. Prabhupada said, this is the Sankirtan movement. He also elaborated that it was not just the chanting of the holy name, but book distribution. That was the real ultimate effect of our book distribution. We asked Prabhupada very specifically if the book distribution created some kind of a subtle spiritual atmosphere in the world. Because even though we gave out millions of books, millions of people are not joining from taking these books. Prabhupada said that exactly what it was. The benefit of taking these books and hearing in public the chanting of the holy names on Harinam Sankirtan was and is creating and will create a spiritual environment that will awaken souls, whatever their denomination. That was the most powerful realization that Prabhupada shared with us about book distribution. Do you understand, dear devotees? Not millions of people are going to become Hare Krishna devotees, but we can change the atmosphere of the world. We can make it a spiritual atmosphere, and we can create a mini Satya Yuga within this. And actually, this has been predicted. It is predicted that within Kali Yuga, there's different opinions when this golden age started. Some people say it started at the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some people say it started in 1896 at the advent of Srila Prabhupada. And there are other astrologers who have been watching the constellations very carefully. They say in about 3 years' time, like in the Bhagavatam 12th canto, 2nd chapter, 24th verse, it is said, when the moon, the sun, and Brihaspati are together in the constellation called Karkata, and all three enter simultaneously into the lunar mansion Pusya, at that exact moment, the age of Satya or Krita will begin. Now, some astrologers have done some calculations where some of these constellations, not exactly like Satya Yuga or Krita, but similar, is going to take place. And we are going to experience a mini golden age which will last for 10,000 years within Kali Yuga. But it's not just going to happen automatically. It's going to happen by the endeavor of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. And that is our mission, dear devotees. You know, you must be getting this Divya Naam. Every time he comes, he gives chat class, he must talk about book distribution. What is he all about? He's got the vision about how we change the ignorance and passion out of the current age and stop 3 billion animals being killed every day. We change the consciousness. Some of it is happening. We can see how veganism is spreading and vegetarianism, but it'll happen in a much bigger scale if all the devotees come together and really endeavor to spread Lord Chaitanya's movement through Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. So I'll stop here. I'll take any questions or comments that anyone may have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Sandeep, Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji.
Please accept mine.
Prabhuji, what a wonderful class, huh? And my biggest realization tonight is the fact that being in mode of passion, how much intense effort it takes. Being an entrepreneur, I know it takes a lot of effort to get a little reward.
True, very true.
I think people in employment segment also know that it takes a lot of effort to get money once a month. This all is mode of passion. So that is such a realization. Amazing. Thank you, Prabhuji. You really opened my eyes tonight.
Thank you for your reflection, Sandeep, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Any other reflections or comments or questions anyone has?
Prabhuji,
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This cow slaughter, it surprises me that it is such a rampant in India as well. And they
Yes.
are a huge exporter of the beef.
Yes.
It can't put my head together how this is coming in a land of our own Bharat. How is it possible? But it's all political, I don't know. But it's alarming.
It is. India is one of the biggest exporters of beef and leather. And this is the land of Bharat Vash, where the cow is meant to be sacred. This is the effect of the mode of passion and ignorance, Mataji. People's, sense of knowledge, people's sense of perspective of what is right or wrong is completely covered over. So therefore, this Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like our only hope. It is like our only hope in this age of Kali to change the consciousness, mass change of consciousness. So yes, Puja Mataji, it's a sad situation, but there is hope. There is hope. You know, there's some good leadership in India at the moment that have banned in many states, or I'm not sure, throughout India, the killing of the cow. Let's see, there's some questions. Emma Mataji says, we need to divert our mode of passion to passion for book distribution. Oh, that's a nice way of thinking, expressing it, Emma Mataji. This is a different type of energy or passion that's transcendental. It's there to, even if one is in the mode of passion, if we redirect that to spreading the mission, the Sankirtan mission, especially book distribution, then we can channel our energy. That's a good point, Emma Mataji. Thank you for that. Deepak Prabhu says, very nice class. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All right. If there's no more questions, don't, this repetition, or let's just say someone says, is this happened beef exportation after the rules of the Mughals? And yes, Mataji, the Mughals and the Britishers introduced those change in the culture. They even introduced, Prabhupada says, the Britishers introduced this industry, factories, the railway line, the bridge, as we were hearing, this Ugra Karma was introduced in India by the Britishers. But that can be turned around. It can be. And the good thing is, in India at the moment, this Hare Krishna movement is spreading very, very fast, very, very quickly. So many temples are being built. India always leads book distribution around the world. Number one by far. Number of temples being built around the world, India by far. So India will lead the world again, hopefully, in this civilization. Yes, it's such a profound prophecy by Srila Prabhupada. Please read this again and again, devotees, and just consider, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if we are able to align our lives with the plan of the Lord, that is perfection. Firstly, we need to understand what is the plan of the Lord as revealed by the pure devotee. And once we align ourselves with that plan, then nothing can touch us. Nothing. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, we'll stop here. Thank you very much for your wonderful listening, patient listening, and your dedicated participation every day. All glories to your service. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.